Scorpio, hello, and welcome to your random intuitive guidance for the month of April, which at this point is mainly going to be confirmation and lead us through the next 2 weeks. I just want to plug my podcast. This is going to be the version you could take on the go, take on your jog, take for reflection to spaces and places where you don't have YouTube. So let's get started. Someone's late, Sagittarius. And I'm saying Sagittarius. Maybe some of you guys have placements in Sagittarius. Perhaps some of you guys can go and watch the Sagittarius reading, or you're dealing with someone who has the energy of a Sag. But someone could be a little bit late to something, like out of time or running behind or not up to date on your current beliefs, which would be something that's like unconscious self-limiting beliefs that you need to clear. You need to invite fresh energy into something, maybe a partnership, maybe a union, something that is very valuable to you. It's like beyond important. There aren't words to um, share what this light brings to your life. And it's like the light is almost blinding. Like whatever this is that brings you this joy, that brings you this sense of value or peace, is something that you can never replace. And you don't want to, frankly, you want to keep it. But you feel like, it could be too little, too late with something. So you could have missed a deadline, or you could be finding that some ways of behaving have been a dead end for you. It's doing nothing but like bringing up compost, which we know that the compost still has to decompose before it can actually really be fertile, like bounty for the. Why am I saying software when I mean to say soil? So someone could be like developing a program or reprogramming themselves and getting that earthy Taurian energy with Uranus in your seventh house. It's like you guys definitely feel where you need to turn a page or update your information, update your agenda, update your involvement with something. I do want to use the angel cards. I just use these for Sagittarius's reading, but I'm going to start with the angel cards to see where your higher self wants you to bring things together. So we got the Knight of Water and the Two of Fire. So this is you and somebody who is very important to you, and maybe you want to make them an emotional offering, but it's something to where it's like they could be so over the way that you've been approaching something, because you've been approaching it with this sense of competition, with this sense of like the divide, being like, this is where the line is and you will never cross it. And this other person is like, okay, Scorpio, I will never cross it. Like, and so it is. So you have to choose this emotional offering, that how you're going to show up or start showing up in ways that you haven't been readily available, or like ready to drop in, ready to get to the point with this person, because someone has maybe like a limit that they've expressed with you, a threshold, and it feels like you guys are wanting to like go all the way with this idea, with this reason. Your motivation is so pure, but it's like you've been guarding yourself, and these guards that you've been putting up, or these boundaries, have been your stumbling blocks. Like you have tripped up over your own boundaries because they're restricting how you show up, they're restricting the level of love that you're able to pour into a situation. And what I'm learning is that the more love we put out into the world, the more love we have to give. It takes nothing away from us to pour love into a situation, but I feel that some of you guys have been confusing like loving actions with sacrifices. So you've been making personal sacrifices where all that is required is just a little bit of love, a little bit of TLC, a little bit of slowing down to really smell the roses with the situation, like with a person. Yep, 5 of air. There's been some conflict, and maybe this conflict has boiled over. And again, this maybe your interlocutor or like your partner in crime is like, I feel like we need some distance, we need some space, or you're starting to see that from an approach that you've been taking with your business or something that's important to you, someone who you've taken distance from. You're starting to understand that there was a sense of competition and like urgency behind you not being in touch with them and not bringing your whole heart to the situation. We have the Queen of Earth. So someone has a plan. Someone might have come to you with a really great idea. Someone might have come to you with an offer, or it could be that you're reaching out to someone who was the two of fire, like you two may have been in touch in the past, or you might have reached a certain plateau with your connection, but you have a resurgence of emotion that you're wanting to invite into this connection. And now you're starting to see that this person has changed. They're no longer coming to you like reciprocating this five of air energy. They're coming with Queen of Earth. So they're immensely grounded. They have the resources or the ability to manifest them. And they are understanding that you have some things to work on within yourself, but like they're very clear about what they are willing to do and what they are not willing to do. They're not confused anymore. So it's up to you, Sagittarius or Scorpio. Sorry, Scorp. You guys have to really look into what has been causing this rupture, what has been causing this energy, which is it feels a little feisty. It feels fiery. We got the two of fire. So it's like you might have been like rubbing sticks and stones together, breaking people's bones, and pretending that the words that you say don't hurt people, or that the words that they have to respond to you with don't hurt you. But you are now starting to understand that there is a part of your heart to be redeemed. Like you have to um, put more love into whatever it is that is important to you, because it's when it counts is when you need to put the love in. You need to pour that like maple syrup all over the situation and make it really sticky sweet, because otherwise it's like this immensely dense bitterness that comes as a result of you guys not having your heart in the right place, of you not being motivated by love in a situation that requires love. So it's like your business, something that you have to show for every day, and you're starting to get I sense a level of like reality check with Uranus being in the third decan and us having an upcoming new moon 7 degrees in Taurus. So you guys are going to start to be able to reset like on an intuitive level what the results will be of you guys coming across in this way that's like swinging and hidden and not taking notice of like what people are doing now and how they are responding to you even entering the space. It's like, I have a feeling you and Sagittarius have some overlapping energy. Black Moon Lilith is in your sign, or it's approaching. And it's going to start to help you uncover unconscious shame, unconscious patterns of sadness that you still might be like defaulting to. Like there could be a level of like you just operate on this expectation that things will not work out, or that you will be just as disappointed by this Queen of Earth as you were by a Two of Fire connection, which it's not even the case. It's not even remotely similar. But your level of emotional capacity seems to be like a Knight of Water when you are dealing with the Queen of Earth. So um, you might feel kind of like you're getting familiar with how to navigate your emotions and how to explore them in a safe and healthy way. We have the Seven of Fire, so you could be like super defensive over what it is that you have been sad about, or super defensive over these beliefs that they do require a reality check. They require a level of you coming into the truth. So we do have Neptune in your sixth house of daily life. So it feels like now some things that you've been doing on a day-to-day basis are going to be really clear as to what the outcome is. So you'll have, with this new moon reset happening, let me check. I guess it's happening here pretty soon by the 28th. Space time being what it is. Yep. On Sunday, the 27th, we will have a new moon in Taurus. Let's go back. I want to look at it directly. I'll share my screen so you guys could follow with me. For my podcast people, just check the virtual one if you want to see all this action. So boom. Okay. Let's 27th. And on this day, in your sixth house, we have Neptune at 0 degrees, Mercury out of shadow. So your thoughts and ideas and your feelings can come into a balance so that you're able to receive the most out of this intuitive day, to see like how much can your relationships grow and flourish when you drop shame-filled beliefs, you see Black Moon Lilith at 3 degrees in your sign and Pluto at 3 degrees in your 4th house. I have the feeling that some of your beliefs are going to be made exceptionally clear. Mars will be at 4 degrees Leo on this day. So 12, 11, 10th house of career and legacy. It's like you guys are going to get either a hard reality check of where your energy belongs when you're dealing with the Queen of Earth, or how you have been showing up with this 5 of air energy, with underlying issues being that you have a deep level of sadness that you have never processed, that you haven't come clear with. You haven't come into right communication about what your needs are, what your emotional needs are, what your needs are in a partnership, in a union. And it feels like you will be setting a new standard for yourself. You're going to be breaking out of a mold that you have taken form of, like just an unconscious mold. It's almost like, I don't want to be harsh, but like developing osteoporosis from having a diet that isn't nutritious, or like not getting enough, skeletal muscle developed and not having enough calcium. Over time, you start to see that your system kind of dries up and hunches over. And it feels like, in an emotional sense, in an emotional capacity, you guys haven't been taking the time to urgently find answers for your emotional needs, but you will. And that's the best thing about this week. You guys absolutely will come into an emotional homeostasis and come to clear up some of the things that were like constant puddles, or those roadblocks, those boundaries that they were your stumbling blocks. You couldn't get around them. You couldn't get past them. They were blocking your path of your truth, of your heart. Okay, from the Salvador Dali deck. Also, I mean, the moon going through Taurus might clear up like how you've been communicating, and how you need to communicate. So over the course of this week, we're going to have the moon going through that 4th house to activate what needs to go, how you need to let go of certain beliefs again and again and again until it's like default, which all of us are doing. As we are growingly getting conscious and more aware and awake as a collective, we will have the same situations come up in different versions. So, like on the soccer field, in the kitchen, with your boss, with your clients. And as you practice it, it gets easier and easier to move past those stumbling blocks, where eventually you just remove them, or you like, you put a flag there and you say, go around. We have the five, 5 of Wands. So from the 5 of air to the 5 of Wands, it's like, I have a sense with this coming up twice. It's like, 2 of Fire is just showing that you have been taking this quarrelsome energy into places where it doesn't really belong anymore. And it's going to become more and more obvious and more easy to notice. And all it takes to make really significant changes is just noticing. First, you notice it when you're angry, and then you can kind of soften a bit. And then you notice it when you're curious about why you might be having these current emotions that would indicate. Look, we got the 5 of air with the 10 of cups. Like, again, bringing this stalemate energy, or like dead end energy, to something that is meant to be so fulfilling and joyful. And you actually, like, when you are conscious, you're like, man, I couldn't have it any better. I have everything my heart wants. And then when you go unconscious, this is when you are still stewing over something that happened as a child. Like, this came through Sagittarius's reading. So I have the feeling that that being your 2nd house, and the throat chakra being how we communicate our value, or a divine feminine essence of speaking our needs, being clear, not shortcutting our emotions. So when we have that sullen demeanor, when our aura is fixated on something that we cannot change or fix, we're able to kind of key ourselves into what's possible. So something that feels completely impossible, my prayer has been, God, this is bigger than me. Please help me with it. And not forcing myself to move out of that emotion of feeling like, damn, I'm kind of helpless right now. Like, I don't know what my next move is. I don't know how to get out of this. But the good thing is, you have a Queen of Earth in your life, or this is you. So you do know how to get out of it. And it would be with the consistency of like letting go, the letting go muscle, which I've brought up in this channel before, but it's a matter of like how tightly do you believe the stories that you've told yourself, or how tightly do you believe you need to hold on to these emotions when they prove themselves over and over again that they're not working, they're not bringing you closer to what you love, they're actually making what you love have limits on the amount of joy it can give you. It's almost like an addiction to fighting or an addiction to being quarrelsome that has gotten you into this position of like feeling really like, someone who you love is disposable, and or like there's some issue with how they live their life, and it's just sort of drawing you back to the sadness that you have about maybe your own purpose or your own capacity. 10 of Swords with the Queen of Earth, there might have been a sense of betrayal either from this Queen of Earth or towards them. So the 10 of Swords does ask us to get clear on our motivations. And I feel that you guys need that. You need to be really clear on your motivations for how you are interlocking with people, what it brings you, how it actually serves you to show up in ways that are thoughtful and warm and loving, and how it serves you to question certain actions or to question certain things, maybe without getting too swept away by what has happened. We have a 5 of Cups. So there are 2 cups that still stand. And I feel that this Knight of Water is going to be you recognizing that, of course, as we go to live another day, there is always another chance. There's always um, maybe luck and fortune being on your side as you face down some of your haunts, as you face down some of the emotions that have been haunting you, as you face some of the ways that you haunt others with your emotional demeanor. Maybe someone has expressed their throat chakra like you could have done it to someone else, like someone else could have been handling you in this way to where they were coming at you a little self-righteous and a little bit hysterical, and you've had to understand that like they have a deep sadness. But the funny thing is, over lifetimes, we do this to each other. We go back and forth with what our motivations are, with what our unconscious drives are, with how people trigger us. We might have triggered them in the last life, or we have been triggered by them over lifetimes. And we're now starting to understand that there's a desire for something greater, maybe with the current situation, maybe with someone who is in your life in and out a little bit, and you want them to be a little bit more consistent with you. But it's like the attraction and repulsion, which is like the Vesica Pisces shape. It's allowing for you to see how you two do this dance, and maybe how you've been doing it over lifetimes, or how this has been a theme for your soul specifically, of being super attracted with someone and then having this repulsion by the same person. And how in the middle of it, it's like that's where the Christ consciousness is, of coming to neutrality, coming to see that we create our own reality. We are the co-creators of our existence and of our experience. And there's nothing wrong with wanting something different from what we have. It's just that, what are we going to do about it? How are we going to show up differently? And it feels like the 9 of Pentacles, like you guys might be on the brink of some major achievement. And it's like all it will take is you getting past this 3 of Air, these thoughts that kind of pollute your space. They pollute your mental space, and they bring you to this deep sadness that, as you surrender it to God, as you surrender it to the divine, to the universe, whatever you pray to, you will understand that it's less and less. As you are like fully committed and devoted to not having this weight that is weighing you down, you'll start to see your other projects start to prosper. You'll start to understand how you can shift out of this maybe like limitations on your joy, because you have come to it with this sense of um, why is depravity coming up? Like depraved, like you will be deprived of what it is you want always. Like this could have been a theme on your soul's bucket list to get over. Like you're always the one who's deprived of what they want. This lifetime, it's different. And we have the 6, 7, 8 of Wands. So we do go from the 5 to the 8 of Wands, and that's with the 7 of Fire. It feels like there might be some decisions that you have to make. And I do want to read that card, but it's like You might have been persecuted, throughout lifetimes or in partnerships and business connections. Like you could have signed a contract with a former employer and they've come after you for doing something that's your intellectual property. And you have to defend yourself in those ways or defend yourself against this inner choice that kind of keeps spiraling. Um, as you go upwards towards the ascension, you kind of stay stuck on a rung, like a level of your soul's agenda to make sure that you do this. You jump over the hurdle, you clear the hurdle, you get past that stumbling block that has been tripping you up over lifetimes. And it's like you have to make the decision to understand that there's a limit to what you know. You can only know so much, and we don't know everything. Of course, we don't know everything. No matter how clear or how intuitive or how much money you've made, there's always something to learn. And this is also why Sagittarius is coming through so much in your energy. Is like the value that you put on knowledge, the value that you put on information that you get from your experiences directly with the person, not what your mind can cook up, because our mind can cook up a whole bunch of stink, Scorpio. I'm sure you know it. And with Pluto in your fourth house, I sense that you're going to start to see that you don't necessarily believe in certain boundaries that you've been enforcing, or you don't believe in certain ways that you've been behaving with other people, or the other people have been behaving with you. Like when people come at you with this sadness that's within them and they project it onto something that you're doing that's like completely normal, completely innocent, and they have a deep level of sadness and they haven't processed it. It feels like you guys are starting to understand that there is no perfect. There is no like there is no limit to the happiness that you can experience in this life or with someone, whether you've been with them for like 20 years or for a year. You're starting to, I feel, if you guys are really truly willing to work past some of your soul issues in relationships, you will intuitively understand what to do next, how to get out of a stalemate situation, out of a sense of your energy being blocked or limited. Yep, King of Cups. So someone is learning about how they encase themselves in this amniotic sac, how they want to show up. They do their best to show up, but then when they don't, they don't. They ice themselves out. They block off their energy. They're like Goku, Super Saiyan mode. They don't have an opening. And you're starting to understand that there's someone who you need to pour into and that you've been persecuting. Like this feels like it's the truth. There's someone who wants to pour into you, but you've been closing off your spout. You're like, "No, I'm full. No space in here." And this person's like, "But I have so many ways that we could grow this. Like there's so many things we can do to get into like into a real sense of achievement of happiness, like happiness beyond our current ability, but we keep getting stuck at this vibe of air. We keep coming to this like foregone conclusions about each other when there is so much to learn. There's so much more to achieve. So I'm going to check out this 8 of Wands card. I love that, and I find it quite interesting that you guys got both the 8 of Wands and the 10 of Swords, which I feel is just kind of like persecution for the name of being the alpha, which is just speaking to a level of fear and division and needing to confuse sovereignty with independence. It's like you guys are taking your independence way too seriously. And being sovereign means that you could be clear, open-hearted, and understand when a no is a no, and that's the final answer. And when there needs to be more dialogue, when there needs to be more understanding or communication that you guys are consciously building. It does feel like a partnership. It truly does feel like a union, especially with a new moon happening in your seventh house. So you guys have the option to really level up pretty soon on the 27th of April next week. All you have to do is start to slow down up here, the mental space. I'm thinking of like a dropper, like one drop at a time on your third eye, like Pachacama or something. You guys might need that to open up your third eye. And if you can get that kind of Ayurvedic treatment, give it to yourself. If you can even do it yourself, if you have like a bottle that you had some like tincture in and it's clean, you sanitized it, maybe you didn't, and you just want to put some kind of oil on your forehead, do your work, make sure you do it safely and don't get it into your eyes. But it feels like you guys just need that kind of ritual. You need that safe, sacred space with yourself so that you can manage to start seeing things from a spiritual perspective and to stop bringing in all of these thoughts that are just um, undealt with emotions. They haven't fully reached their ripeness. So they're kind of like this concept from Kim Kranz is that the idea of green fruit, unripe fruit is evil. It's like you're bringing these evil ideas into something that is very pure. And with your purity, other people are projecting maybe their own evils, their own shortcomings, their own inability to bring something to fruition onto you. And it needs to level out. Like, you need to kind of get past this energy, and it's like I'm waving it away, but it feels like it's just a dense smoke in the air. Okay. Practical advice from the Ten of Swords: strengthen your mental alertness. So this would be like you noticing when you slip into that victimizer mentality, like how you can get someone, how you can zing them, get them with that scorpion stinger and make them pay. We got to get past that, Scorpio. Treat thoughts, definitions, and decisions with care. Clear the air. You see, I was waving away that smoke. Clear the air and take a deep breath. Beware of suspicions and harmful actions. So this is absolutely in a relationship dynamic. And it doesn't matter your gender. Someone might be the feminine in a situation, someone could be the masculine in a situation. You guys could be the one who's been thoughtful, warm, creative, and sensitive, but then you also become this. Like, it could be you on both ends. And this could be the energy that you're bringing to people because on one side, you're completely open and available. And on the other, you're completely closed off. And with this need to close off, it's like you're needing to defend yourself for whatever reasons because of something in the past that is not here and now. Okay. And the Eight of Swords, which is just making a decision that you don't know everything and that sometimes you're going to have to open up to communicate and to get to the bottom of maybe why you're unwilling to communicate. It feels like you could have been persecuted for being intuitive and being on. This was such a message from Sagittarius' reading too, so you guys might want to watch that or listen to that podcast. But it's like you guys as a kid were upsetting people who had things to hide, and you were just naturally responding to your environment. Like, you were just naturally like, I'm a child, I see this going on, this is how I'm gonna show that I'm on and aware, and people punished you because they were uncomfortable with what you were showing them, which happens all the time. I'm a stepmom. I've done that. And I'm walking my light walk. I'm doing all of the work that I can do. But it feels like you guys are now willing to take more actions to really definitively end this level of, like, you want to keep ascending, and this is the level in the video game that you guys get stuck on every lifetime. It's like you just get stuck here and you're like, I know that there's another level. I know that there's infinite levels, and I have to just get past this by opening up my throat chakra and being willing to communicate my intuitive needs or my intuitive feelings, and not to be so pessimistic or angry about something that doesn't belong to me anymore. Um, the Eight of Wands. Make sure that good vibrations exist between you and other people. So this is Pluto in your fourth house, making sure that your beliefs are accurate so that you could have good vibrations with other people. And this will bring you a lot of fortune and success. That 3 degrees that Pluto is at does represent your second house. It does represent Jupiter, and Jupiter is in your eighth house right now. So it's like you have some karmic debts to pay, and it's going to be you coming out of behaviors that you take. So, like, you could be overworking yourself and then bringing that energy of being completely drained into a loving situation. And that completely drained or completely like upset over something is clouding your judgment. And that's what's bringing in this like need to clear the air and to clean up your karma, clean up the behavior that you've been living with, because it's something that doesn't fit you anymore and it's uncomfortable. It's like you don't even like how you feel after you do these things, but now it's like you are more clear than ever because something has changed recently. Like, you guys might have moved. Pluto in the third house. Let's see. in the 4th house, but Saturn being in your 5th house. It's like, that 27, you guys could have had to take an action recently that show that you're on, like, you're game, you're in it to win it, and you're not afraid to devote to this next level, but it's like, in order to actually start living and playing out this level in the video game, you have to take new actions that create good vibrations between you and other people. Learn to understand what moves you and others. Become more sensitive to the needs of all parties involved. Then you will be able to harmonize many different types of energy. Yeah, that came through somewhere. Um, I'm gonna call it these, like the 5 to the 10. It's like you want to make an emotional change and you yearn for it, but when you have that happiness, underneath it, there's this sense of like, "I smell some BS," and you're like, where is it?" And you puncture somewhere that's like, "Hey, that was a sensitive area for you and this other person." So it causes all this turmoil that isn't necessary anymore. And it's gonna be something to where it's like, now you're consciously working on it. In a month, you'll be able to be like, "Oh, it's happening. Okay, that was me and I'm gonna do this about it. I'm gonna go for a walk. I'm not gonna just be reactive anymore. I'm not gonna rip out the stinger and sting myself and then call someone else having done it. You guys are gonna slow down, which feels really good. You're gonna take new actions that are deliberate for love. And also, this affirmation came through a Scorpio goddess the other day. She said, I am no longer going to have to suffer for love. And I said, me too. Me too, girl. Like I no longer have to suffer for love. And some of you guys might have been suffering for an idea of love that was like a Peter Pan, Wendy Tinkerbell syndrome. Like you were just avoiding growing up into your best self. You wanted to stay a child forever, but the characteristics that you were trying to live through, they don't age well. They don't go well with being an adult. They don't go well with having committed long-term partnerships or unions or business projects. It's like you were just wanting to skip to dessert every meal and not brushing your teeth before bed, which would bring up a lot of issues in the mouth and your wisdom because our teeth do represent wisdom. Okay. You can have oh, yeah, see, look at this. You will be able to harmonize many different types of energy and accomplish many things without having to resort to manipulation. And that's what that 7 of fire feels like, is like you guys might have been very cunning, very manipulative, and that black moon Lilith is shining a light on where, it's been coming from shame or like a need to protect yourself, but that's false protection. It's like the cheapest form of protection is manipulation, getting other people's energy involved in what it is you need to bring to fruition, and that would keep you stuck on a certain level of this life video game. It's like not carrying out what's important to you and making someone else do it. Dang, Scorpio, love y'all so much. You guys will work through this. You will because you want to. And there's the difference is like really wanting something and then just knowing that it exists, like knowing that it's an option. But wanting something, you will like the universe will conspire on your behalf to make it happen. This is from The Alchemist. This is from Paulo Coelho. So if you guys haven't read the book, listen to the audiobook maybe this week or start to just tap into this feeling of like, what does my next level of happiness require? Where do I keep getting stuck? Practice your morning pages, mantras, meditations, 432 hertz or beyond, the binaural isochronic tones. Because when you start showing that you are consciously pining for this change in energy and emotions, you will have it. And there will be a new vibration that's available to you and that you could take steps towards. But it's going to feel like you're really clear on the path. Scorpio, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Catch me on the weeklies and catch me in May. Aloha.